In this chapter, we see the after effects of the Lee versus Gaara fight and ultimately kind of have a throwaway fight to end up the preliminaries. All in all, very good stuff.
Naruto number 87, the preliminaries completed.
Yeah, it's about
Well,
time.
all good things must come to an end. And this chapter is that end, I think, at least for this portion now, this particular path, this journey. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and ninja of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you another review on the awesome, heartwarming, and honestly just the action-packed, fight-filled tale that is Naruto. Now, our last chapter saw the 4 or 5 chapter long battle between Lee and Gaara, these two heavyweights raging on, and ultimately Gaara kind of pulling a bullshit move, I guess you would say, to go and wind up, almost killing Lee. I got to the point where we thought that Gaara was taken out, but he actually wound up sacrificing his little urn or whatever that holds his sand, and to take the brunt of the impact instead of his body. The first time it was the sand armor that he was able to slip out of. I don't know, just seemed a little bit too convenient for me, but it is what it is. It was an awesome, amazing battle, but at the end, obviously, Lee was so badly hurt. Master Guy wound up actually stepping in and being like, all right, the fuck, it's done, all right, enough. And anyway, so that's how the chapter left off, and that's how this chapter winds up picking up. They got the EMTs coming in, man. They're going to hit him with the paddles of life and everything like that, and they wind up pulling Guy aside because he's obviously the Jonin that's in charge of him. And and they're talking to him, and they said, listen, if it was, he's got a bunch of severe compression fractures and torn muscles and things like that, and if it was just that, we could expect a full recovery. But it's not just that. His left leg and left arm, the ones that were attacked by that coffin move from Gaara, the suffocating coffin of sand or what have you, are so badly just basically twisted and broken and what have you that he's never going to recover. He's this is what they tell him. They pull him aside over here, and let me see if I can get this in here. Though he's breathing on his own, he has compound compression fractures and torn muscles throughout his body. If that were the full extent of his injuries, we could still expect a full recovery. But the damage to his attacked left arm and leg is especially severe, and this kid's body is just so destroyed, he'll never recover enough to be a shinobi again. And honestly, that you go and you look at that, and then you just look at the panel with Guy and his expression, his face, even Naruto. Everybody is completely shocked, and they're like, well, even Naruto, he kind of starts piping up and yelling. He's like, what do you mean? There's nothing you can do for him. What the hell, And then Kakashi tries to go and tell Naruto. First of all, Sakura comes over to try to are you okay and that type of thing, and he goes, it'll only cause him more pain. Just back off, Especially because, even if he was half conscious or wound up seeing her, because he has an infatuation for, it would be like an embarrassing thing, here he's lost, right? And, man, I tell you, he lost the fight, but like I said, I feel like it's one of those situations where, man, he really won the war because he wound up taking it to the next level. He just took it to the next level and beyond. Going and opening up those inner gates and using the forbidden technique and going to the 5th gate and everything else. Absolutely amazing stuff, But that's the main focus of this, of this chapter, as far as I'm concerned. After that, there winds up being the final fight. And it's pretty much a throwaway match between Choji, the fatter kid, the rotund one, the one that likes eating, a little pleasantly plump, and the one from the village of Sound, Dosu, I think his name was. And we know obviously they're working for Orochimaru. But like I said, the main focus for me, was Lee, and even Kakashi goes and pulls Naruto on the side and says, you don't understand. He still, in a way, he still won. He took it to the limit, man. He took it to the limit. He never quit. He never backed off. And he did what he did because he wanted to be a shinobi, because he wanted to fight all you, because he wanted to, And I thought that was really good. I thought that was really nice, and it was really profound, just the way it was said and the way it was done. He could have backed out at any time. And Kakashi even goes and winds up saying to Guy, which I thought was nice, because these two are like these arch rivals and everything. He winds up telling me, he says, listen, I'm sorry I was so harsh on you earlier about flipping my shit on you, with the inner gates and everything like that, because he really scolded him and said he was irresponsible and blah, 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 and basically just tried to cut him down as a man and a human being for what he was doing, kind of, backing Lee, pushing Lee to do these things. And, and even Guy said, he goes, he's thinking in his head, he's like, man, I'm so sorry, Lee. Had I known, I believed in you winning so much, and I wanted it to happen so much that I should have stopped it before. But then Kakashi tries to reassure me. He says, listen, I'm sorry I was so harsh on you earlier. If I was in the same position, I probably would have done the same thing. I probably wouldn't have been able to stop him either, And I thought that was good. That was a reassurance, and that's what you do, man. You pick up your brother when they're down. That's what you do. You pick up, whatever. It doesn't have to be your brother in the physical sense of the, actually your blood brother. Anybody, man. You see somebody down, you try to help pick them up. You know what I mean? Especially somebody of like mind, kindred spirit, what have you. You know what I mean? It's like, listen, you guys are all here, even though you're facing off against each other in these various tasks and battles and things like that. You're all here for the same overall overarching purpose, right? So, we can still pick each other up. We can commend each other on our good, on the good things and pick each other up when we're down. And I thought that was good. The match between Choji and Dosu starts off, and Choji actually starts off with a good thing, man. He's like, I know how you work, bro. I already saw you in Phase 2 and fought your ass and everything else. I know that you guys, the thing with the holes on your arm projects sound, blah, blah, blah. So he goes and he uses this ninjutsu or whatever it is, where he goes, and he basically just puffs up and turns into this huge ball. It's something juggernaut, whatever. I forget exactly the name of it. It's actually pretty funny. But he winds up going and using this here. He goes, what is it? The Nikuden Sensei, the human juggernaut. And I thought that was great. He turns into a giant ball, right? And he's so big that it like tucks his ears up in the fat that's going around him. And then he just starts like rolling at Dosu, and it looks like he actually jacks him up a couple of times. Dosu winds up dodging out of the way though, and he gets stopped or kind of caught against or in the wall. And then Dosu goes and he's like, all right, so, I'm going to time this now to while you have to stop and then turn around and get your rotation going again. He goes and he basically just goes and kind of punches into him and then goes and uses his sound thing. And it explains that like the body is made up of 70% water, right? And water is a wonderful conductor of sound. So really all he had to do was just give it a generally pinpoint where he thought his eardrums were. And then boom, right into him and boom. And Choji just winds up getting laid the fuck out, Match is over. Dosu winds up winning. Dosu, though, has a little inner monologue beforehand and then after, right? And he looks like he might be a problem for Orochimaru, right? He's not going to be his pet anymore. He talks about, in his mind, he's talking about how, yeah, I understand the whole deal now. You put the cursed mark on Sasuke, and you didn't put us up against him to kill him. You put us up against him to test him because you want him. You want to have him. We know that's the truth, right? But he didn't know that until now, and it was neat to see one of his puppets come to the realization that he's being used like a puppet. And then even at the end of the chapter, after he winds up going and beating him, and the preliminaries are technically over and everything else, they call it, we wind up getting Dosu, winds up saying something over here to the, something about Orochimaru. Oh yeah, here we go. I'll show you I'm not just your guinea pig. And I thought that was kind of cool. So they wind up calling it, though, obviously, and they figure, hey, whatever, Dosu went easy on the chubbier kid. Very nice of him. His teammates are still going to take him out for some barbecue, even though he lost. He still manned up, and he didn't try to bitch out. He could have just quit right away, and he didn't. So I got to give him respect and give him props for that. He was going against an opponent that, by all accounts, was better, stronger, faster, all those sort of things. And he still went and manned up and tried to fight him, and he did what he could, and had a good plan, actually, for a moment there, but unfortunately didn't follow through, wasn't able to come to fruition the way he wanted it. So anyway, then we get the Hokage, and he says, at last, the finals. Well, then as of this moment, the preliminaries to the third exam are now complete. So there we are. Those are the preliminaries. We know who our winners are. For me, just absolutely fun. I mean, amazing. A lot of the different fights were very, very cool. I enjoyed Sasuke's. I enjoyed Naruto's. Hell, I even enjoyed Sakura's. And whatever, man. You want to blast me for it? Go ahead. She hasn't gotten on my nerves too much yet because that's less than 100 chapters. I'm not even in triple digits yet, Maybe chapter 300 or 400 to start pissing me off, but right now she's all right, man. She's got, she's had some development and some qualities that we've seen come out that I thought were pretty good. So anyway, that's how things wrap up over here. My chapter question for you, brothers and sisters, is ultimately, what are your thoughts on Guy and him, basically letting Lee, push it to the limits like that, encouraging him to? Do you think that Guy did the right thing, or do you think he did the wrong thing? Now, I know that the honorable thing and everything else was to push him, but now looking at it from the perspective and the point of view that they're saying this kid's done, man. He's never going to be able to, I don't even know if he's ever going to walk again, right? Let alone be a shinobi. But they're saying he absolutely not at this point, unless there's some kind of miracle or whatever. Right now, it's looking like it wasn't such a great choice. You know, had he went and, you know, not had Lee go to the inner gates and everything else, and Lee had just given up or just had kept fighting like he was, but then wound up losing, you know, after he wound up doing the Lotus technique the first time. Anyway, you get the idea. You know, it's like I said, it's just a question. There's no right or wrong answer. But do you think that Master Guy, did the right thing by letting Lee and encouraging Lee to go and kind of, you know, go to the next level with things? Or do you think that it was a mistake? Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Naruto Nation. Remember to check out my other channels, follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and as always, thanks for watching.